Imagine walking through an ancient city where time itself has been frozen for 2,000 years. Citizens still sit at their dinner tables, children remain cradled in their mother's arms, and bread still waits in bakery ovens. This isn't science fiction. This is Pompeii, the Roman city buried under volcanic ash on a fateful day in 79 AD. And the latest discoveries are revealing astonishing secrets about the final hours of its inhabitants. For the past 3 decades, archaeologists and scientists have been using cutting-edge technology to peer into the past like never before. They're not just uncovering artifacts anymore. They're bringing the dead back to life, reconstructing faces, revealing final meals, and even recreating the terror-filled moments when Mount Vesuvius unleashed its fury. What they've found challenges everything we thought we knew about one of history's most famous disasters. Today, we're going to take you on a journey through the last hours of Pompeii, guided by groundbreaking research that's rewriting the story of this ancient catastrophe. From the bustling streets filled with merchants and gladiators to the sophisticated urban planning that rivaled modern cities, we'll explore how advanced forensic science is revealing the human stories behind the tragedy. But first, let's set the scene for what would become one of the most perfectly preserved moments in human history. On the morning of August 24th, 79 AD, Pompeii was a thriving Roman city of approximately 20,000 inhabitants. The wealthy elite lived in luxurious villas with hot running water and steam baths, amenities that wouldn't become common again until the modern era. Street vendors hawked their wares in busy marketplaces, gladiators prepared for combat in training schools, and citizens gathered in taverns that stayed open late into the night. The city boasted sophisticated infrastructure, including a complex water system, public fountains, and even one-way traffic patterns that modern urban planners would recognize. What makes Pompeii truly extraordinary isn't just its preservation, but how it captures a single moment across an entire city. Unlike other archaeological sites that show layers of history built over centuries, Pompeii gives us a snapshot of Roman life frozen at exactly 1 p.m. on that August afternoon when Vesuvius began its deadly eruption. But Mount Vesuvius, towering over the Bay of Naples, had been sending warning signs for days. Small earthquakes had rattled the region, and those sensitive to such things might have noticed animals behaving strangely. However, the Romans didn't understand volcanic activity the way we do today. To them, Vesuvius was simply a mountain with incredibly fertile soil, perfect for growing the grapes that made some of the region's finest wine. When the eruption began, it started not with flowing lava, but with a massive column of ash and pumice that shot 20 miles into the sky. This towering cloud, which Pliny the Younger famously described as resembling an umbrella pine tree, would soon rain death down upon the unsuspecting city below. The initial phase lasted for several hours, covering Pompeii in a steadily deepening blanket of volcanic debris. Recent research has revealed that many Pompeians initially tried to wait out the eruption indoors, a decision that would prove fatal. As roofs began collapsing under the weight of accumulating ash and pumice stones, panic set in. Families gathered their most precious possessions and attempted to flee, but by then, the roads out of the city were blocked by debris and fleeing crowds. The truly devastating phase came around 6 a.m. the following morning, when pyroclastic flows, superheated clouds of gas, and volcanic matter, traveling at hurricane speeds, swept down from Vesuvius. These flows, reaching temperatures of over 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, killed instantly upon contact. Within 18 hours of the eruption's start, Pompeii was completely buried under 20 feet of volcanic material. What happened next created one of archaeology's most important time capsules. The intense heat caused the victims' soft tissues to decompose rapidly, while the hardening volcanic ash formed perfect molds around their bodies. When 19th century archaeologists discovered these hollow spaces in the hardened ash, they developed a technique of filling them with plaster, creating haunting casts that capture the victims' final moments with extraordinary detail. These plaster casts have become some of the most emotionally powerful artifacts in archaeology. We see people caught in their last moments, some covering their faces against the deadly ash, others embracing loved ones, and some simply curled up as if sleeping. For over a century, these casts have been our primary window into the human tragedy of Pompeii. But recent scientific advances are revealing far more than we ever imagined possible. If you're finding this exploration of ancient forensic science as fascinating as we are, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our deep dives into history's greatest mysteries. Modern technology has transformed how we study Pompeii's victims. A team of researchers recently focused on 15 bodies discovered in the eastern part of the city. Using advanced 3D scanning, CT scans, and detailed analysis of bones and teeth to reconstruct not just how these people died, but how they lived. What they've discovered is revolutionizing our understanding of Roman society. One of the most remarkable cases involves a young man between 25 and 30 years old, found with a military sword beside him. Through careful analysis of his bones, scientists determined he was likely a soldier, possibly part of the garrison stationed in the city. But the real breakthrough came when they used forensic reconstruction techniques to rebuild his face, giving us our first glimpse of what a Pompeian actually looked like. The reconstruction process involved analyzing skull measurements, tissue depth patterns, and dental structures to create a scientifically accurate representation of this man's appearance. The result is startling. A face that bridges 2 millennia, making the tragedy of Pompeii suddenly personal in a way no artifact ever could. But the scientific revelations don't stop with facial reconstruction. Analysis of the victim's bones and teeth is revealing intimate details about their lives. Scientists can determine what they ate, what kind of work they did, even what diseases they suffered from. Many of the victims show signs of excellent dental health and strong bone structure, suggesting they were well nourished by the standards of their time. One particularly poignant discovery involves a family found together in their final moments. Dental analysis revealed that they had been eating a meal rich in fish and seafood just hours before the eruption struck. The preservation was so complete that researchers could identify specific types of sea urchins and small birds, delicacies that indicated this was likely a wealthy household enjoying an elaborate feast, unaware that it would be their last. These findings paint a picture of Pompeii as a prosperous city where even ordinary citizens had access to luxury goods and exotic foods. The presence of expensive imported items, fine wines, and elaborate meals suggests a level of economic development that wouldn't be seen again in Europe for centuries after Rome's fall. However, Pompeii faces new threats today that are almost as dangerous as the volcanic eruption that created it. Over 3 million tourists visit annually, and the sheer volume of foot traffic is causing measurable damage to the ancient streets and buildings. Weather erosion, particularly during Italy's increasingly intense rainstorms, continues to threaten structures that have survived for nearly 2,000 years. Most ominously, Mount Vesuvius remains an active volcano, and scientists consider it one of the most dangerous volcanic threats in the world today. To combat these modern dangers, archaeologists have launched the most ambitious digital preservation project in history. Using high-resolution laser scanning and photogrammetry, they're creating detailed 3D models of every single structure in Pompeii's 66 hectares. This massive undertaking will preserve the entire city in digital form, ensuring that even if climate change, natural disasters, or volcanic activity destroys the physical site, future generations will still be able to explore Pompeii virtually. The 3D scanning project has already yielded unexpected discoveries. By examining buildings in unprecedented detail, researchers have overturned long-held assumptions about how various structures were used. The Quadriporticus, for example, was long believed to be a gladiator training ground. However, detailed analysis of its infrastructure, including sophisticated plumbing and sanitation systems, suggests it was more likely a marketplace or public meeting space. This kind of architectural detective work is rewriting our understanding of Roman urban planning. Pompeii's street layout reveals a surprisingly modern approach to traffic management, with clear evidence of one-way streets designed to prevent congestion. The city's water distribution system was equally sophisticated, with public fountains strategically placed to serve both residents and travelers. The amphitheater of Pompeii represents one of the city's most impressive achievements. Built around 70 BC, it's the oldest surviving stone amphitheater in the Roman world and could hold 20,000 spectators, making it larger than the city's actual population. This suggests Pompeii hosted major gladiatorial events that drew crowds from across the region, establishing it as an important entertainment destination. Recent analysis of graffiti found throughout the amphitheater has revealed fascinating details about gladiator culture. These weren't just brutish fighters, but skilled athletes who had devoted fans, much like modern sports stars. The graffiti includes detailed records of fights, victory tallies, and even romantic messages directed at popular gladiators. One inscription reads, "Crescens the net fighter holds the hearts of all the girls," while another proclaims, "Celadus the Thracian is the sigh of all the girls." The gladiatorial contests followed specific formats, with different types of fighters facing off in choreographed battles. The most popular matchup pitted the retiarius, armed with a net and trident, against the heavily armored mirmillo with sword and shield. These contests were as much about skill and showmanship as they were about violence, and successful gladiators could achieve celebrity status throughout the Roman Empire. Art and culture flourished in Pompeii, as evidenced by the thousands of frescoes and mosaics that decorated public and private buildings throughout the city. These artworks provide an unparalleled window into Roman aesthetics, religious beliefs, and daily life. The famous Villa of Mysteries contains some of the most sophisticated wall paintings ever discovered, depicting elaborate religious ceremonies in vivid detail. However, many of these artistic treasures are under threat. Pollution, humidity, and decades of inadequate conservation have caused significant damage to frescoes throughout the city. Traditional restoration methods often did more harm than good, with harsh cleaning chemicals and inappropriate materials causing irreversible damage to delicate pigments. Modern conservation efforts employ laser cleaning technology that can remove centuries of grime and pollution without damaging the underlying artwork. This process has revealed colors and details that haven't been visible for decades, bringing Pompeii's artistic heritage back to life. The restored frescoes show the remarkable sophistication of Roman artistic techniques, including the use of perspective, shading, and complex color mixing that demonstrates artistic knowledge that wouldn't be rediscovered in Europe until the Renaissance. Take a moment to like this video if you're enjoying this journey through ancient Pompeii, and let us know in the comments what aspect of Roman life you'd most like to explore. One of the most intimate ways scientists are learning about Pompeian life is through the analysis of waste and food remains. While it might seem unglamorous, garbage archaeology provides incredibly detailed information about diet, social status, and daily routines. Recent excavations of ancient sewers and waste pits have revealed the contents of the Pompeians' final meals with remarkable precision. The evidence suggests that even ordinary citizens had access to a surprisingly diverse diet. Researchers have found remains of exotic birds, various types of seafood, sea urchins, and other delicacies that would have been expensive imports. Particularly intriguing is the discovery of suckling pig remains from animals less than 3 months old, considered the ultimate luxury food in Roman cuisine. These findings suggest that many Pompeians were enjoying elaborate feasts in the hours before Vesuvius erupted, possibly as part of religious festivals or simply because the city's prosperity allowed for such indulgences. The fact that expensive foods were found in ordinary homes, not just wealthy villas, indicates a level of economic equality that was unusual for the ancient world. Wine culture was particularly sophisticated in Pompeii, with local vineyards producing varieties that were shipped throughout the Roman Empire. Modern archaeologists have even attempted to recreate ancient Pompeian wine using traditional techniques and grape varieties that would have been available 2,000 years ago. Interestingly, Roman taste preferences were quite different from modern ones, with a preference for heavily oxidized wines that would be considered spoiled by today's standards. The city's taverns were social centers that stayed open late into the night, serving as gathering places for workers, travelers, and locals. Archaeological evidence shows that these establishments offered food, wine, and entertainment, including gambling, despite the fact that dice games were officially illegal. Numerous dice and gaming pieces have been found throughout Pompeii, suggesting that the prohibition was widely ignored. Graffiti found in these taverns provides insight into the lives of ordinary citizens. Messages range from political slogans and business advertisements to personal declarations of love and crude insults. One tavern wall bears the inscription, "I have wet the bed. I admit it, I have done wrong. But if you ask why, it's because there was no chamber pot." Such mundane confessions humanize the ancient Romans in ways that formal literature never could. The urban infrastructure of Pompeii was remarkably advanced for its time. The city featured paved streets with raised sidewalks, a comprehensive sewage system, and public fountains that provided fresh water throughout the city. Street design included stepping stones that allowed pedestrians to cross roadways without stepping in sewage or mud, while still permitting cartwheels to pass through. Traffic management was sophisticated with clear evidence of designated lanes for different types of vehicles and pedestrians. Wear patterns on the streets show that the Romans implemented one-way traffic systems to prevent congestion, a solution that wouldn't be reinvented until the modern automotive age. The depth and pattern of cart ruts in the stone pavement reveal the volume of commercial traffic that flowed through Pompeii daily. Recent advances in archaeological techniques have allowed researchers to trace the exact movements of people during the final hours of the eruption. By analyzing the distribution of bodies and artifacts, scientists can reconstruct the chaos that ensued as Pompeii's residents realized their city was doomed. The evidence suggests that initial evacuation attempts were relatively orderly, with many families gathering valuables and attempting to leave together. However, as volcanic debris blocked roads and visibility decreased due to falling ash, panic set in. Bodies found near the city gates tell the story of desperate attempts to escape, with people carrying heavy bags of coins and jewelry even as death approached. One particularly tragic discovery involves a group of children found in a building near the Forum. Analysis suggests they were students in what may have been an ancient school, caught together when the building collapsed under the weight of volcanic debris. Their teacher appears to have tried to shield them in their final moments, a testament to human courage even in the face of natural disaster. The preservation at nearby Herculaneum has provided additional insights into the final hours of the eruption. Unlike Pompeii, where most victims were killed by falling debris or pyroclastic flows, Herculaneum's residents survived longer and many attempted to escape by sea. Hundreds of skeletons found in waterfront boathouses tell the story of people who waited by the harbor for rescue ships that never came. At Herculaneum, the preservation was so complete that wooden furniture, papyrus scrolls, and even organic materials like food survived the eruption. The famous Villa of Papyri contained a library of over 1,800 scrolls, many of which are still being deciphered using advanced imaging techniques. These texts, carbonized by the volcanic heat, are gradually revealing lost works of ancient literature and philosophy. The synchrotron X-ray technology being used to read these scrolls represents one of the most exciting developments in classical archaeology. By detecting minute differences in ink density, scientists can virtually unroll scrolls without physically touching them, revealing text that has been hidden for 2 millennia. Several previously unknown works by ancient authors have already been discovered, with the promise of many more revelations to come. Before we continue exploring the latest discoveries, don't forget to share this video with anyone who loves history and archaeology. The story of Pompeii continues to evolve with each new scientific breakthrough. The digital reconstruction of Pompeii represents perhaps the most comprehensive archaeological documentation project ever undertaken. Every building, every street, every decorative detail is being captured in high-resolution 3D models that will allow future researchers to study the city with unprecedented precision. This digital preservation effort has become increasingly urgent as climate change poses new threats to the site. More frequent and intense storms are causing erosion and structural damage at an accelerating pace, Rising temperatures and changing precipitation patterns are affecting the chemical composition of the volcanic soil that has preserved Pompeii for centuries, potentially accelerating decay. The 3D scanning project has already revealed architectural details that were invisible to previous generations of archaeologists. Paint traces that are barely perceptible to the naked eye show up clearly in high-resolution scans, revealing decorative schemes and color patterns that help reconstruct the original appearance of buildings and artworks. Computer modeling based on these scans is allowing researchers to virtually reconstruct damaged areas and visualize how buildings would have appeared at the time of the eruption. This technology is particularly valuable for understanding the second floors of buildings, which were largely destroyed but whose architectural features can be inferred from remaining structural elements. The project is also creating virtual reality experiences that allow people worldwide to explore Pompeii as it existed in 79 AD. These immersive reconstructions include not just the buildings, but populated scenes showing how the spaces would have been used, complete with period-appropriate clothing, furniture, and activities based on archaeological evidence. The human stories emerging from Pompeii research are perhaps the most compelling aspect of recent discoveries. Each body tells a story of individual tragedy within the larger disaster, personalizing an event that affected thousands of people. The famous Garden of Fugitives contains the casts of 13 victims who died together while attempting to flee, their final moments preserved in heartbreaking detail. Recent analysis of these remains has revealed family relationships, ages, and even social status based on clothing and jewelry remains. One cast shows a parent attempting to shield a child, while others suggest people who died while trying to help injured companions. These discoveries emphasize that the people of Pompeii faced their final hours with the same mix of courage, fear, and love that characterizes humanity in any era. The preservation at Pompeii is so complete that scientists can study evidence of diseases and medical conditions that affected the ancient population. Dental analysis reveals information about nutrition and healthcare, while bone studies show evidence of arthritis, injuries, and other conditions that provide insight into the physical challenges of Roman life. Some victims show evidence of excellent medical care, including sophisticated dental work and healed fractures that suggest access to skilled physicians. Others reveal the harsh realities of ancient life, with evidence of malnutrition, overwork, and untreated injuries that speak to social inequality within Roman society. The ongoing research at Pompeii continues to challenge assumptions about ancient Roman civilization. Far from being a backward society, the Romans achieved levels of urban sophistication, artistic achievement, and technological innovation that in many ways surpassed anything seen in Europe until the modern era. Their understanding of engineering, architecture, and urban planning created cities that functioned efficiently and provided high-quality life for their inhabitants. Yet Pompeii also serves as a sobering reminder of humanity's vulnerability to natural forces. Despite their technological achievements, the Romans were helpless against the fury of Vesuvius. The city's destruction happened so quickly that even the most wealthy and powerful residents couldn't escape. This vulnerability continues today. Mount Vesuvius remains active, and the greater Naples area now houses over 3 million people, far more than lived there in Roman times. Modern monitoring systems provide early warning capabilities the Romans lacked, but the potential for catastrophic eruption remains. Scientists consider Vesuvius one of the world's most dangerous volcanoes precisely because of the large population living in its shadow. The lessons of Pompeii extend beyond volcanic hazards to broader questions about civilization's relationship with natural forces. Climate change, rising sea levels, and increasing frequency of extreme weather events pose challenges that echo the sudden disruption faced by Pompeii's residents. The city's preservation serves as both an archaeological treasure and a cautionary tale about the fragility of human achievements. As we wrap up this exploration of Pompeii's secrets, consider subscribing to our channel and clicking the bell icon for notifications about our upcoming videos exploring other lost civilizations and archaeological mysteries. The story of Pompeii continues to evolve with each new discovery and technological advancement. Current excavation projects are revealing previously unknown districts of the city, complete with intact buildings, artwork, and human remains. These new areas provide opportunities to test theories developed from earlier excavations and to gain fresh perspectives on Roman urban life. One recent discovery that has captured international attention is an intact chariot found in a villa outside Pompeii. This ceremonial vehicle, preserved in extraordinary detail, provides insights into Roman craftsmanship and the social rituals of the elite. The chariot's decoration includes bronze and tin elements with erotic themes, suggesting it may have been used in wedding ceremonies or other celebrations. Another significant find is a thermopolium, an ancient Roman fast food restaurant, discovered with its serving counter still intact and decorated with colorful frescoes. The establishment contained amphorae with traces of food that was being served on the day of the eruption, including duck, pig, goat, fish, and even crushed snails. This discovery provides tangible evidence of the diverse diet enjoyed by Pompeii's residents and the sophisticated food culture that existed in the ancient world. The preservation of organic materials at Pompeii continues to surprise researchers. Recent discoveries include intact wooden furniture, leather goods, and even fabric fragments. These materials provide information about daily life that is rarely available from other archaeological sites, where organic materials typically decay completely over time. DNA analysis of both human and animal remains is opening new avenues of research. Scientists are beginning to trace family relationships among victims, understand the genetic diversity of the ancient population, and even identify the origins of imported animals found in the city. This molecular archaeology represents a cutting-edge approach to understanding ancient societies. The international collaboration required for Pompeii research demonstrates how modern archaeology brings together experts from numerous disciplines. Geologists study the volcanic deposits, computer scientists develop 3D modeling techniques, forensic specialists analyze human remains, and art historians interpret cultural artifacts. This multidisciplinary approach ensures that every aspect of Pompeii's story can be understood and preserved. Education and public outreach have become increasingly important aspects of Pompeii research. Virtual reality experiences, interactive museum displays, and online databases make the latest discoveries accessible to audiences worldwide. These educational tools help ensure that the lessons of Pompeii reach beyond academic circles to inform and inspire the general public. The economic impact of Pompeii extends far beyond its scientific value. Tourism related to the site supports thousands of jobs and generates hundreds of millions of euros annually for the Italian economy. This economic significance helps justify the substantial investments required for ongoing preservation and research efforts. However, managing tourism while protecting the archaeological remains presents ongoing challenges. Visitor pathways must be designed to minimize damage to ancient structures while still allowing meaningful access to the site. Digital technologies offer partial solutions, with virtual tours providing detailed exploration opportunities without the physical impact of millions of footsteps. Conservation science continues to develop new techniques for protecting Pompeii's vulnerable remains. Nanotechnology applications include protective coatings that shield frescoes from environmental damage while allowing them to breathe naturally. Advanced monitoring systems track temperature, humidity, and structural stress throughout the site, providing early warning of potential problems. The legal and ethical frameworks governing archaeological research at Pompeii reflect broader debates about cultural heritage protection. Questions about ownership, access, and interpretation of ancient remains touch on fundamental issues of how societies should relate to their past. International cooperation agreements ensure that discoveries at Pompeii benefit the global scientific community while respecting Italy's sovereignty over its cultural heritage. These agreements provide models for archaeological collaboration that could be applied to other significant sites worldwide. The story of Pompeii ultimately transcends its specific historical context to speak to universal human experiences. The city's residents face the same fundamental challenges that confront all human societies: how to create meaning, beauty, and security in an uncertain world. Their achievements in art, architecture, and urban planning demonstrate human creativity and ingenuity, while their sudden fate reminds us of our shared vulnerability. As we conclude this journey through the last hours of Pompeii and the remarkable scientific discoveries that continue to illuminate this ancient tragedy, we're left with a deeper appreciation for both the achievements and the fragility of human civilization. The ongoing research at Pompeii serves as a bridge between past and present, using cutting-edge technology to preserve and understand an ancient world that has much to teach us about our own. Every new discovery at Pompeii adds another piece to the puzzle of human history, helping us understand not just how ancient Romans lived and died, but what it means to be human in any era. The faces reconstructed from ancient skulls, the meals preserved in volcanic ash, and the streets worn smooth by cartwheels all contribute to a story that is ultimately about us, about our ancestors, and about the continuity of human experience across the centuries. The preservation of Pompeii for future generations requires continued international cooperation, technological innovation, and public support. As we face our own challenges from climate change, natural disasters, and social upheaval, the lessons of Pompeii remain as relevant today as they were when the city was first uncovered nearly 3 centuries ago. Through the dedication of archaeologists, scientists, and conservators from around the world, Pompeii continues to reveal its secrets, ensuring that the voices of those who perished in 79 AD will continue to speak to future generations about the beauty, complexity, and fragility of human civilization.